Okay, everyone, let me introduce our first guest speaker in this semester in ACB 250. This is Daniel Smrokowski. And Daniel Smrokowski was born 3 1/3 months premature and was diagnosed with learning disabilities and severe speech disorder. Daniel is the founder of Special Chronicles, which you will learn today, a pioneering non-profit new media company. He is also involved as an athlete and global messenger for Special Olympics Illinois. He graduated in December 2012 from Roosevelt University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in journalism. Daniel was named among 10 other advocates, a national finalist for the American Association of People with Disabilities 2015 for Jiwon Leadership Award. He was the recipient of the 2012 Matthew Freeman Award for Social Justice for his continuing efforts via media reporting to give people with disabilities a voice. For those who don't know, Matthew Freeman Award for Social Justice is the highest social justice award given from the university. Through his work as a podcaster, blogger, award-winning journalist, public speaker, multimedia specialist, radio show host, and award-winning Special Olympian, he enjoys spreading the message to respect others, like himself, who are diagnosed with a disability label. So everyone, please welcome them with your warm Chicago welcome.
Thank you. Just sorry, I have to closely go again. On here, that's a long bio, but thank you.
I want them to know.
Too much technology. Thank you, Dr. Yoon, again for inviting me to come speak again. I'm happy and honored to be here with you to talk about my backstory of growing up with learning disabilities, or LD as we go to it as, and how I'm overcoming obstacles as the foundation to what I founded at Special Chronicles, which is to give respect and a voice to people with special needs from an insider's perspective. Plus, I'll show you some audio and video samples of work. This November will be 7 years of podcasting, and so of the 100 guests and just a short sample. Plus, I'll give you a few sneak peek of one episode that will be published tomorrow, and then in the next couple of weeks for this month that nobody else across the globe will get to hear until it's published. So you guys get an exclusive look. You know, recently discovered that communication is my biggest passion, but it's also my biggest struggle. I was born in Long Beach, California, and I was born 3 1/3 months premature, much shorter than I am today, with, well, a lot more hair. I weighed 2 pounds, but I drastically dropped down to less than a pound. Due to being born premature, I was diagnosed with learning disabilities and a severe speech, or as my doctors referred to it as, a severe language disorder. According to one of my special ed case managers, from middle school through high school, I had LD, which, just so you know, if I refer to learning disabilities as LD, that's what it is. And then speech and language was my secondary disability. And I've also had a lot of other cognitive issues. I was in the hospital for 3 months, and I had a lot of medical and developmental challenges, like you can see here. I was in a small incubator with, I don't know if you can see it, but there was some tape and tubes and everything. So now when I go to the doctors and either have to get blood or needles or whatever, it's always hard because of my old needles 26 years ago. My doctors just told my parents to never give up and always to do whatever it was necessary to keep me alive. My parents showed me how to just try my best every day. And so through these early days, I've slowly learned how to overcome my challenges. I've had a lot of therapies going up from sign language to music therapies and even a lot of speech therapies. And what I'll get to a little later through the podcast and new media, it's also helpful. Even though I don't go to speech therapy anymore, but it's still helpful. And it was actually this July there's a conference, the NSA conference, which is not related to space. It's the National Stuttering Association Conference. It's here in Chicago, just down the street on Michigan. Still debating if I'm going out, but I have some friends that have gone in the past. At the age of 4, we moved from California to Chicago, to the western suburbs. I grew up. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with the Chicago area, but I grew up in a town that's called West Monarchs. Really small. And actually last July, there was a Columbia journalism student who my family has known for a long time, but there was a small newspaper, there was a small magazine in the town that I used to live in, and they did a story about the changing face of disabilities, or disabilities, as I'll get to a little later. But they did a front page story about what we'll do in Special Chronicles. So didn't expect that. And we moved because of my dad's job transfer. And I've had a lot of family support through my years, and even growing up, I don't know how many guys had stuffed animals when you were little, but this was an apartment in California that overlooked the Pacific Ocean. And feel free to anytime after, or if you have any questions, you can tweet me. My Twitter handle is Apartment Dan, and then SCP chat is the hashtag if you have any questions, if you want to, if you want to tweet. I went to preschool, 2 years of kindergarten, and then first, second, and third grade at a local Catholic school. And it was exciting, but it took me longer to learn, to write and to speak and to play sports. And a private school didn't have the extra special education services that I needed. So then in third grade, my teacher had talked with one of the special ed teachers from the public school, and we were able to get the services, and it's what's called an IEP, which is an individual education plan to receive the accommodations. And they determined that a long time, it took me a while to comprehend what I'm reading and processing information. So there's a lot of different levels of LD, but mine is related to the processing. Then I transitioned to public school for 4th and 5th grade, and through middle school all the way through high school. And through the special education teachers, they had taught me how have me succeed and to learn better. And they gave me what I refer to now as a toolbox of tools to be able to advocate for myself. One is it's a tool that's called touch points, which is for math. And that's where you put numbers on I can draw it on here. So like if you have a one, you can just put one dot on there. Two will be 2 dots. 3 is 3 dots, and you kind of go on like that. Now I just do it in the air because now I know that wasn't back in 5th grade, and now I kind of know where it is, and that's a really helpful tool. My special education has also given me assistive technology tools for the text-to-speech and all those tools, as well as daily life skills. And one of my case managers from 6th grade all the way through high school, her name's Miss Holy, and she's the one that's pictured here. And I went back a year ago, so last February or March. I forgot the exact date, but I went back there and I interviewed her my story and kind of looking back on how she was able to help me and my friends. As you can see from middle school, the picture on the white, maybe to the left, the white here. And if you want to listen to that full conversation, that's on episode 117, and specialchronicles.com/podcast 117 is the direct link. It's also on iTunes or on Stitcher Radio, which I'll get to later on. But one of the things that you probably wondered about this title, Dan's Dip Cup and Story and Special Education Support, that's something to do with the job training that I had in high school, and getting wearing stress all over my pants and everything. And so I won't go into the detail, but if you're curious, you can listen to that podcast to hear that story. So I also was able to take these toolbox of tools, my special ed teachers, into college, and was able to receive the accommodations and the extra time and the tests in a separate room. So I met with the director in the academic success center here at Roosevelt, and I know that I just met a student who, I won't say their name, but I just met a student one student that I knew when I was here, and then another student who is taking classes here. So that was interesting. And I don't know how many of you guys know Nancy Lickey in the Academic Success Center, but she helped me to learn to better understand the special needs that I was diagnosed with. People may not see me as having an intellectual disability because of all the abilities and accomplishments that I've had in helping to advocate for all of us, people with special needs. There's a difference between invisible and visible special needs. And invisible is OD or autism or ADHD, so something that you might not be able to really visually see. And then visible is speech or language disorder, Down syndrome, or CP, more visible. And so that really helped me to understand that. And I'll get to the disability later on. That's related to something else, but it's a tone I've talked about on some of our early podcasts. I've written about it, and then a good friend of mine, Tim Scheibel, who's the chairman of Special Olympics Inc. He also just wrote about it in his book. I've also, and so as you can see on here, what I graduated here from Roosevelt December 2012 with a bachelor's degree in journalism. And I actually just, funny thing, I had an interview at Goodwill end of last week, and just one of the people, those two people in the interview, one person I found out when I gave them my resume, also went to Roosevelt, graduated the same day and month that I did. And we didn't know each other when we went to school here, so that was a funny coincidence that just happened. I also compete in Special Olympics. When I first started, I wasn't that good because it took me longer to catch the ball, to run, or to swim. I was supposed to introduce the Special Olympics at one of our IEP meetings. This whole lady who you saw a few slides ago, she was the one who introduced me to Special Olympics. And I realized that I was able to still participate in sports. As you can see here, I swim. I've also played basketball in the past, and last year I played softball. And I learned through competing in Special Olympics, and I'm also an athlete leader and a global messenger, which is a spokesperson for them. And I've learned that to just try out my best and that you can compete at your own. And it's what our Special Olympics athlete oath is about, which is let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. And Special Olympics, I won't go, I talk more about it in other talks, but it started in 1968 right here in Chicago at Soldier Field before, as I say, before the spaceship landed. And so my success in sports, also, as I said, let me become a global messenger as part of the athlete leadership program, where we give speeches and talks on how Special Olympics helps to transform our lives. And so my involvement then has, because Special Olympics has transformed my life, as another step into the foundation of Special Chronicles as a nonprofit new media company. And as I said, I started podcasting November 2008, so my first semester here. And then I became a global messenger in March of 2009. Oh, and we compete at those different levels, the USA Games, the athlete happened last year in New Jersey, the Special Olympics World Games. I don't know if you went to the auto show, you probably saw some ads for it. It's fun out of the news, but our World Games are happening in Los Angeles this summer, June, end of June. There's a big unified relay across America. I'm actually going to be talking for the second time tomorrow with the CEO of Special Olympics International about their coming unified relay coming to Chicago June. I have to look at the press release again, but